All right. So I think we are officially live back here once again on the Greg Green live stream. Happy to have my good buddy with me, Sean Law. Sean came on the show. What was that? The day before the fight? That was Friday night. We came on and we
Yeah,
made a
last Friday.
prediction. We kind of like had a little discussion, had predictions for this fight, and so shout out to you, man. Welcome back. We committed to coming back on Wednesday to talk about it. We've had a few days to marinate on everything, and it's crazy though. But first, before we get into the fight, just quick, anybody watching, if y'all want to check out Sean over at his YouTube page called Post a Shot, check him out. A lot of good stuff going on over there. He's doing his thing. But right here, he's with me on the Gregory live stream. We're gonna talk a little boxing tonight. We're gonna talk Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury 3, or I guess you say Fury Wilder 3. And I just want to kind of get right into it, man. You said you had some good stuff that you wanted to kind of bring to the table. So first, let me get your just initial thoughts on the fight, just your initial reaction to everything that went down.
Well, for me, just being my age, this is probably the best heavyweight fight I've seen, like ever. I wasn't there for Ali Frazier, Holyfield and Riddick Bowe.
Mm-hmm.
I was still kind of like not really in that realm, looking at the analytics of it and strategy and styles. But this is the first trilogy. So I can be like, yo, man, this is history I'm looking at right now, man.
No
like, this is a fight that, this is going to have documentaries on this fight, in the next 10, 20 years. I think they both came with it. I mean, we definitely got our money's worth. I can say that.
All right. So all right. I agree. It was an amazing fight, an amazing trilogy. I've old enough to kind of remember some of those historic trilogies. I don't want to say it's the best, but it's up there, man. It was a really intense fight. But just what were your just initial thoughts on how everything ended up and how it started, and how it came in the middle and how it ended? We both predicted Fury would win that fight. I think we both had we were correct on some predictions on how the fight might start. But it didn't really end, I think, the way that we thought it would. So just give me your initial thoughts on the whole thing.
It did exactly the way I thought it would, man. If you remember in the last stream, it went exactly the way that I had predicted. Like in retrospect, I didn't look at our video from Friday to confirm, but I do remember saying that with Wilder coming in with that extra 20 pounds, that he was going to try to get him out, and he was going to go to the body. First thing he does in round one, he comes out, he starts going to the body, trying to chop him. But I knew that if he couldn't get him out early, he was going to gas. And we saw that. He started, legs weren't there, mouth open, breathing. And Fury just took advantage, man. He took advantage. So it went exactly the way I went. It didn't go down the round that I predicted. I was originally saying like round 6 or something along those lines. I think we would get him out of there. But yeah, dude, it went exactly the way that I predicted. If Wilder couldn't get him out within those first 3-4 rounds, and if it goes a distance with all that extra weight he's not used to carrying, then Fury was going to take advantage and just show his boxing skills. So, yeah, man, I'm not surprised, but how it went down. But like I said, it was a damn good fight.
Right. So there was to me it was a bit of a. I mean, it was. At one point, it's like, okay, yeah, exactly what we said was going to happen is happening right now in the early rounds. And then, of course, Wilder comes back and knocks him down a couple of times. And then you start like, oh, shit, what's going to happen right now, right? And then, and it's just like kind of like similar to the first fight, Fury gets up and he starts to dominate the fight again. So what were kind of some of your emotions through that whole process as it started and then it kind of changed and it changed again? What were you thinking?
Well, when Fury got him out in the third round, I was like, "Oh shit, it's happening right now! Oh damn!" He hit him right on the ear, just like he did last time.
Just like he did last time, yep.
I was like, "All right, cool." Fourth round, I was surprised that he got him out, that he knocked him down twice. That second one, I don't think it was a knockdown though. If I look back at it, it looked like it was more of a push down. But that first one, definitely he hit him on the button. I'll say this though. I wasn't worried at all because the way Fury went down, the way his posture was, he looked like he was just like, all right, I messed up. I fucked up. He was kind of shaking his head like, all right, cool. Let me not get too overzealous about this. You know what I'm saying? I knocked him down in the third round. I thought I was going to get him out right now, but I still got to be careful. So after those fourth round knockdowns, he came back 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and just stole the show. He just kept the fight going. He was hitting combinations. He was dodging shots. He was playing with Wilder in round 10. After he knocked him down in round 10, and then towards like the last 10 seconds, he's just like, yo, get some shots in. He started letting Wilder hit him, and then got in his face. Commentary were like, oh, Wilder's coming back. But I was like, nah, he's not coming back. It looks like Fury is just toying with this dude. He's letting him get some shots in, telling him like, yo, you can't hurt me. And by that time, Wilder was so winded.
Right, he was gassed.
There was no power in that right hand. He was throwing that right hand, connecting with it.
No power.
But he was so drained by that point, he couldn't do it with the same velocity that he's accustomed to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I knew the fight was over. And there was so many moments where he just could have went out from like, I want to say from 7, 8, 9, 10, like at least starting from round 8. Fury hit him with a few shots. So it was like, oh, he's about to go right now. But he stood up though. So I'll give Wilder some credit there as far as like staying on his feet. But
I was going to ask, because there's been a lot of commentary about, Wilder's heart in that fight and how he, I think, there was a lot of conversation before the fight, and people were asking, if he had a conversation with his corner, because, the last one they threw in the towel, if they had a conversation about, hey, no matter what happens, don't throw in the towel. It's on me, yada, yada, yada. Because there was a couple of times, I was like saying, oh, is it going to go another round? Like, I can't believe it's going to go another round, right? And but they never threw it in. And he, for the most part, he stood in there until he just couldn't anymore. So definitely give a little bit of credit to just his heart and his want to. But at the end of the day, looking at the previous two fights and then how this fight turns out, Tyson Fury is just the bigger, better fighter. I think one thing that, it's important to kind of call out for me anyway, is Tyson Fury is a really, really, really big man. Right. And I know that, Wilder throws these bombs and he can knock people out. He's super strong, but Tyson Fury is just massive. And so, and the thing is, it's kind of a testament to Wilder's strength, because he's putting him down a few times, right? And that's hard to do. But the amount of energy that it takes, dude, to get a guy that size down and just to keep willing and just not like really, you're having an impact, but just not enough of an impact to put him out, because he's just so big and he's such a good fighter, right? So when he gets up, it's easy to kind of lose your composure. Clearly, when Wilder was getting knocked down, it was hard for him to get his shit together, because you're getting a bigger dude knocking you to like boom, dropping beans on your ass. You got the heart to get up, which is great. But again, Fury is a big man. So not only is it hard to knock a person like that down, but when a person that size is hitting you and leaning on you throughout the fight, like you got to hold his big ass up, right? So that's even more gas. And it's just, he's just.
No, it's like what I said. It's like what I said last time, man. It's like what I said in the other one, where Fury was going to use his weight.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like what I said last time. As soon as when I did the Mike Tyson quote,
right,
you got a game plan if you get punched in the mouth.
So you get punched in the mouth, right? Mm-hmm.
And his game plan was to try to chop Fury at the body.
Mm-hmm.
Right, came in with those body shots. Came with the body shots, had a game plan, stay back, use the right. The right has power, but you never use it on the body. You always use it for the knockout.
Right.
Use that hard-ass right, hit his body, wear him down, and then once he starts protecting his body because of the pain, then his face will be open. Then you can hit with that right. I'm pretty sure that was his game plan. But as soon as he got knocked out in the first, knocked down in the third round, everything went out the window. He started
he went right back to being
back to what he always does. Backing up, off balance. no real finesse to his punches because
Right.
he's a puncher. So that's what I saw in the fight. I saw him just revert back to what way he's accustomed to. And like I said last time, man, a 35-year-old man, it's hard to teach him new tricks.
Yeah.
You can
And I
only
can't remember like if in the like during the fight, if the corner was trying to tell him to just to stick with the plan, because I think for the most part it was working. You know, I give him the first round. You know, he did fine, right? You know, he's a lot of those jabs to the body. Fury was backing up a lot. I feel like Fury was a little bit confused, you know, with the game plan, and he came out really aggressive. But I was just like, man, how is he going to keep that up, right? He just can't. And then though, so he goes down, and you know again, I think it's over. The first time Wilder goes down, like, oh, well, it's a wrap, right? You know, even though he gets up, they go to another round. I'm like, it's only a matter of time now, right?
Yeah.
I didn't expect Wilder to come through with those two knockdowns. Yeah, one was sort of a glancing like a thing, but I think I can't remember the first or the second one. I don't think he went down. I don't think it was necessarily from a punch right at the moment that he went down, but there was a few punches that kind of like maybe disoriented him before his body kind of went a weird way and he ended up going down. So I can see still that being called a knockdown, but I did hear from one. I was kind of like browsing on YouTube today, and there was this one guy who, and I don't know if you've heard anybody talk about or mention this. This is the only person I've heard mention this, and I haven't gone to look back at the knockdown again. But the second knockdown, you know, Fury was for the most part saved by the bell, meaning he got up, but when the bell rang, I mean, there was no more fighting, right? If there would have been a little bit more time, who knows what would have happened, right? But you know, the time is the time, and the time was up, so he's good to go. But there was one guy on YouTube today, I can't remember what site it was, but he was saying that there's been talk about how the ref gave an extended count. So he said at 10, if you map the clock, the time from Fury goes down to the time that he gets up, it's like 15 or 16 seconds, right? Now, I think refs like stop all the time. So what this guy said was that Fury goes down, he starts the 10 count, but then he stops the 10 count to go tell Wilder to go to his corner, right? So he stops the 10 count, tell Wilder, hey, go to a neutral corner or whatever. Then he comes back and starts to count again. Now, supposedly there's people on ringside that's supposed to help the referee, make sure keep his spot on the count if he stops or something like that. And so, but I just hadn't heard anybody else talk about that except for this one guy. But I feel like refs do that all the time. You know, a guy goes down, he'll start counting, and then maybe the guy who knocked the guy down is sort of like hovering right over the fighter. And so he has to tell him to get to a neutral corner. I feel like that happens kind of a lot, and they stop counting.
Oh no, man, I'm calling bullshit on that, man. Like,
oh well, I do too. Because no one said that.
For me, it sounds like and no disrespect to Wilder, but it sounds like whoever made the video is a Wilder fan.
Yeah. Oh, well, you could definitely tell just from the way they were talking that he definitely was. And so, but again, that's just kind of like, yeah, he had an opportunity to get him out of there, and he didn't. And so. I guess the other thing that plays into that was that I guess at the last minute they changed the referee and they changed one of the judges, which ultimately doesn't matter anyway.
That was a good call on the referee because this referee was phenomenal. This referee, he was like a no bullshit referee. Yeah, he let them do their thing. Mm-hmm. Anytime they got into a clinch, he tried to break it up.
Right.
So actually, I like the referee. I can't say much about the judge. Because we didn't get to that point to see. Okay,
that doesn't even matter anyway. Because ultimately,
referee, I think he did a great job. I ain't never seen this referee before.
Yeah, I feel like he did fine. I feel like he did fine. I didn't think. I don't think I realized where the clock was on the second knockdown. So I thought Fury was done. Honestly, this is what I felt. But once the fight kept going and he started to make a score, I said, well, okay, this is about to end, because you could just see Wilder just not having the energy to do anything. He was just holding on, bro. Yeah. And he was still swinging though. And like you mentioned earlier, he was just so gassed though. There's just no power with those punches, and it's like mosquito bites to a big man like Fury at that point in the fight. And so I feel like Fury did a really good job just biding his time. He didn't go crazy, and try to just kind of go wild, knock him out. He just kind of just chilled, make sure, I'm sure, I mean, it's a boxing match. I'm sure he was a little tired too. It's a long fight. He's knocked the guy down a couple times. So he was tired. But again, he knew how to manage that. Right. Because there was a lot of points, a lot of times he could have went crazy, but he would land a clean shot. Water would be all flimsy, but he didn't just go crazy and try to get him out of there. He just was patient. He was patient, just took his shots. Oh, absolutely.
He respected his power. Like he had, if he wasn't so cautious, this would have been an 8-round fight. It would have been an 8-round because what Fury would do is that he would come in and he would hit Wilder clean with at least 2 shots, and then he would come in and clinch.
Right.
He didn't want to risk it. Okay, all right. I did a combination here. I don't want to risk being too open and give him an opportunity to swing. So let me get these two. Let me pop. Let me hit him twice, then do the clinch and put some weight on him, tire him out more.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I will call out with Wilder,
he's been down.
Yeah, one thing I will call out with Wilder that I think was a good technique was he started taking knees when Fury put his weight on him. He started taking knees. He's like, yo, I'm not gonna let you put your weight on me. So I'm gonna take a knee.
Yeah.
And if this continues, eventually, hopefully, the ref will probably, start to try to deduct the point from you.
Right.
For that action. So, I mean, it looked like Fury adjusted after. I think Wilder did that twice. He took a knee, you're leaning on him. But yeah,
the one thing I don't like when fighters do though sometimes is when they do get knocked down, they try to get up super fast. And sometimes, I mean, once you're down. So there's really no need to jump up right away just to kind of show. I mean, I guess some people want to show they're not hurt or whatever. But I feel like the main thing you should focus on is recovering, right? And so just stay down, even if it's on a knee, just stay there until 9, right? Then you stand up. If you feel good, you stand up because that buys you just much more time. Because even when you get up, right, he's going to start asking you, are you okay? So that's more time, right? Do you want to fight? Yeah. All right, step back. All right, now walk to me. Walk to him. Put your gloves up. You all that time, all that shit you get to recover. And so why force the referee to start doing that earlier than you need to? Because you've already lost. It's already going to be a 10-8 round, unless you come back and knock the guy down again. You already lost a round, so just take your time and get up. I think that first one, if I remember correctly, he tried to get up super fast, and it's just like, bro, just sit your ass down. You just got knocked out. Just
that's exactly what Fury did. He laid there for a minute.
Yeah, just laid there, bro.
Got his shit right. And then got up. Like I said, that's the between the skill set.
Yeah.
And it's not, and I'm not going to put that on Wilder like that because like you said, we see that with a lot of boxers.
Mm-hmm.
And what you made a great point as far as that being yo, I'm not hurt, but it's also kind of it's ego at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Be on that canvas for too long, you want to pop up because you're thinking about how does this look on camera, blah blah blah. You're not thinking about the strategy aspect of it.
Exactly. And those are things that need to be thought about before the fight even happens. What am I going to do at a period of adversity? What am I going to do if I get knocked down? I'm fighting a really big guy. He's put me down before. There's a chance I could go down again in this fight. Right. Yeah. So what's my plan to recover from that? And looking bad, I mean, you already got knocked down. So, I mean, you really can't recover from that. Look at Twan. Twan is on Facebook. Remember Twan? What up, Twan? It's been a minute. Huh?
I can't drop a comment, Twan. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, he did. He put oh shit, it's been a minute. But he put it in the Facebook comments. So you have to look it up on Facebook. So he's on that one. So good to see you, Twan. Hope things all good with you, man. We talking about the Fury fight. Don't know if you watch boxing. But the link is in the chat. If you want to come on and chime in, you're more than welcome to. Actually, I didn't drop it in the Facebook link yet. Let me drop the link in the Facebook just in case that if somebody pops up and wants to join in, they can do that. So let me drop it in there real quick.
Yeah, man, we had some good comments last time, man.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
We don't know.
All right, so I just now dropped the link, the StreamYard link in the Facebook chat as well. So actually, let me go ahead and put it in the YouTube Twitch chat. By the way, the Greg Green live stream, I'm streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Got my man Sean Law with me. Be sure to check him out on YouTube at the Poster Shot. He's doing his thing over there, reviewing his HBO shows and reacting to all kinds of stuff, movies, TV shows, the whole works. So check out Sean over on the Poster Shot on YouTube. That channel is growing very, very quickly. I'm trying to learn a little bit from him. But tonight we're talking Wilder Fury 3. Great fight. A lot of back and forth. I'm always happy at the end of a fight when it just wasn't over in a couple of rounds, because you got all this hype and you got all these people coming out, and there's all this anticipation for a really good fight. And then sometimes it just end up being a quick knockout, or the punchers aren't fighting each other, or whatever the case may be. But this was a fight where you got a very skilled fighter versus a fighter with a lot of heart. And I'm not going to say, Wilder don't have skill, but I think, that last fight was in his head. It was, it was hard for him to come to the, just a realization that he got beaten by a better guy. He had all these excuses about coming back or about why he lost before. Obviously there was a clause in the contract for a third fight. And so boom, a huge opportunity to come in and show the world that, hey, that last fight was bullshit for whatever reason he wanted to come up with. But most of the experts predicted that Fury would win. He did win. I thought he ultimately won very convincingly, ultimately, when it was all said and done, but Wilder had his moment, right? And so I'm wondering if you think he had, I'm not sure if he could have done much more just because of the clock, but do you think that was a missed opportunity for him to get him out of there? Like maybe shortly after the knockdown. Do you think that by that round being over at the end of the 10 count where Fury gets to go sit down now, do you think that sort of just threw it out the window for Wilder? That was his only hope, was to have a little bit more time in that specific round.
It's hard for me to say yes, just looking at as far as how well Fury's composure was throughout the fight. Because even with the second, let's call it a knockdown, because it could have gone either way. It looked like it was kind of like he leaned on him,
right,
and then he fell. So I'll have to review that to see if that was actually a second knockdown, right?
Right.
Even with that second knockdown, he had all his marbles. He had his composure. In no way in the fight did he look dazed or his equilibrium was off, in the way that Wilder did. So it's kind of hard for me to say that. And if we know Fury, just judging that first fight when he got knocked out in the 12th round, he came back after that knockdown, and then he virtually won that 12th round in the first fight.
Right.
So
for sure.
It's kind of hard for me to pinpoint. He didn't look dazed for me to be like, okay, right.
Mm-hmm.
I can still see Fury maybe backing off in this round, maybe slipping some punches now, because he still had the know-how to know, okay, all right, I'm a little dazed, whatever. He caught me with this. It was kind of hard to say that he would have been out of there if there was more time on the clock.
Right. So, It is. And plus the way that he came back, like I said, he got his shit together, and he did what he needed to do. Now, I guess after the fight, according to Fury, in his post-fight interview, he was shouting out Wilder for being, the second best fighter in the world. But he said that, he went over and just tried to say, hey, good fight or whatever. And Wilder wasn't trying to have it, was being a poor sport about it. And of course he just said, maybe God will find a way to soften his heart. It's just crazy, man. I think if that's really how it went down, that's, shame on Wilder for one. I think later he's come out and said that, he did the best that he could, and that, he didn't know what happened. He just lost. Right. So that's almost getting to, when you're looking at sportsmanship and, you know, respecting each other where you want to be. But initially, I mean, he had kind of like the same response, like this is BS. But he clearly was knocked out. What do you think about the whole Wilder attitude?
I mean, I think it's something he's going to regret.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because that's the biggest thing as far as backlash goes from this fight that he's received, because he, you know, it kind of takes away from all the compliments we give him about this fight, because he does have a big heart. You know, he does want to on the shield. You know, he does have, you know, power. You know, he showed us all of that, even though he took a L. But that just makes it look, you know, that lack of sportsmanship just makes it look, you know, it just doesn't. It's not a good look for him for that.
Right.
I will say this though, you know, if I was going to play devil's advocate, I would just say that, you know, two things, right? Either, you know, you just got knocked out.
Yeah.
He's probably not even thinking right at this point. He probably don't even know what's going on. He's probably just, you know, in his feelings, you know.
Yeah.
You know, that's my second point. He's probably just in his feelings, and he knows it was the wrong thing to do. As far as the response afterwards, it kind of takes away from that second point I just made, because although he shouted himself out for, you know, I did the best I could.
Right.
And nowhere did he apologize or try to give Fury his just due, you know, his credit.
Right.
So I think he's just bitter about the whole thing. But like I said, I hope he changes for that. But like I said, he's a 35-year-old man. It's hard to change somebody's frame and thought. You know, when they're that old, they're kind of set in their ways at that point. I would like to see him at least fight again. You know, a lot of people want to say, and this is only his second loss, and people are talking, oh, well, he should retire, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I don't think he should retire at all. If anything, he should be trying to fight Anthony Joshua, because Joshua Wilder would probably be the next thing, because those two have kind of canceled themselves out from that heavyweight spot. A lot of people are saying Joshua, based on his performance with Usyk, that he's not going to be any competition for Fury. We just saw what happened with Wilder as far as Fury goes, so he shouldn't even step to Fury anymore at this point. I think we all seen that. But I think there's still some money and some excitement to see, you know, a Joshua Wilder fight. That's something I would like to see. It's like a redemption fight, you know.
Well, I mean, obviously Josh is going to get his a second chance at Youssef to see what happens there. You know, I guess Fury has to be take on the winner of that fight, or the winner of that fight gets the shot at Fury, which most people think he'll win no matter who he ends up fighting. Again, the guy's just so big compared to these guys, and he can fight. You know, it's one thing, you know, I think smaller guys can beat up a bigger guy if the bigger guy just can't fight. You know, you can be bigger, but if you know how to fight, then you could, you know, a smaller guy could beat you, right? But if you're big and you can fight, you just, you know, it's just hard, man. It's hard to get. The only thing that's probably going to catch up with Tyson is age, like it does everybody. It's if he doesn't find the right time to call it quits, yeah, somebody will sneak him and get him when he's old, and you know. But right now, I think he's in his prime. You know, people are going to look at him as his body type and say, "What, really?" Yeah, because he's not that old, right? So. He's getting there, but he's got like you were mentioning last time we talked. He's got a few more years of in his prime. If he takes care of himself, and he's going to be just fine. Can make a lot of money, and still a lot of good fights out there.
He's 33 right now, so at 30, I give him at least a good solid 3-4 years.
Yeah,
to just own that division.
And you can get like maybe 3 or 4 fights out of that. So. Maybe more if boxers typically don't fight twice a year.
I say about 5,
but they can. Maybe 5. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But again, yeah, I'm with you. I think Wilder. There's definitely some good fights out there. People like to see people get knocked out. Chances are, anybody else other than Fury, he's gonna knock him out.
Yeah, he would need a perfect storm to get back in that champion conversation.
What's that?
He would need a perfect storm to get back in that
yeah.
champion conversation. Like it would have to be a situation where
somebody beat Fury.
Fury quits, or either
yeah.
depending on how the Joshua Usyk fight goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Depending on who fight, if that person ends up beating Fury, which is a high probability won't happen, just based on their styles and just my eye.
But yeah, that would really be his only shot at a title for sure. Is if
Fury would have to be canceled out in order for Wilder to be another title contender.
Yeah, I think we're all tired of Fury. We're all tired of Fury Wilder. That's run its course. They fought 3 times. It was a great trilogy. It's rare though that you have like a really good trilogy when really in all 3 fights one person really dominated. So that's kind of weird.
You can call this a full 3. You can call this. You can say that. You can argue that Fury won all 3 fights.
Oh, for sure. And he actually won 2 of the 3. And so it's just weird. Usually it's like kind of like a back and forth. Like one guy wins the first fight, the other guy wins the second fight, and then the third fight is like, the thing. I think what helps this be a good trilogy when one person dominated pretty much all 3 fights is the fact that Wilder had his opportunities. Right, he actually knocked the guy down a couple times, So when things like that happens, because I was sitting right where I am right now. I was telling my cousin last night we were doing a show. I was sitting here watching. I was like, doing all this right here. I was like, whoa, what's about to happen? All by myself. My wife's in the other room hearing me scream and yell. She's like, what is wrong with that guy?
I'm like, oh man, that's quite crazy.
Yeah, I mean, all alone, just cheering on, it reminded me of I don't. You probably saw the first Usman Covington fight. So that fight, I was watching on my TV right here, but I was like standing up, like right in front of the TV, like doing all this. It's like it was just that intense for me because you just never know what was going to happen. And there was moments in this fight. Well, obviously, ultimately, you can see the writing on the wall. But there was a short moment when it was like, wow, anything could happen here. And it was just that's what you pay for, right? That's what you want to see.
Yeah.
And I
want to be clear on something I said earlier in here, so I want to backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
As far as trilogies go, this is, I would say, top 3 trilogy that I've seen.
Right.
I know you've seen more than me, but I'm speaking from a heavyweight division. Right, but if we're talking like the best trilogy that I've ever seen, I would have to go Gotti Ward. Like if you remember Gotti Ward, like in the early 2000s, that's like probably the best trilogy that I've seen, like ever. But from a heavyweight standpoint, this is number 1.
Cool. Real quick, so when Twan put something else in the chat, he was like, "I'll watch it on Facebook. I'll save the link when I get home. Link doesn't work on mobile for me. For some reason, I would pay money to see Fury versus Joyce." I think he meant Joshua. Did he mean Joshua?
No. Joyce. Joyce is another UK guy.
Oh yeah. So okay.
I believe he's another UK guy. I could be wrong.
Let's see, I'm pulling him up real quick.
Yeah, Joe Joyce.
Yeah, he already fought Usyk. Well, that's who Twan wants to see. I don't know that guy.
Joe Joyce. He's a UK guy, man. He's really good too.
Is he?
He hasn't had many fights, but he has the same knockout probability as Wilder does. He's had 13 fights, 12 knockouts. So his percentage level
that's pretty good.
High. Yeah,
that's pretty good. Well, I mean, you just gotta fight Joshua first. We gotta see what happens in that fight. Joshua's still a good fighter, I think. Well, maybe. But he just gets hit a lot, dude. Yeah, Toronto. Yeah, he's UK. He gets hit a lot, man. And Ruiz put him down. He actually came back to avenge that fight. But and now he walks into this fight with Usyk and thinking, probably it's going to be an easy win for him, and he gets his ass whooped, bro.
The problem with Joshua that I have is that he just seems so unprepared. He seems like he's too cocky when he goes into these fights.
Right.
It's like he set the man on paper, And he's like, oh man, this is an easy win. This is gonna be like, I'm already thinking. And he admitted in an interview that, oh yeah, Tyson Fury, I'm thinking about him all day. He's got real estate in my head. He wasn't even thinking about Usyk. Like he was looking past Usyk. He was not prepared. That's not the same sentiment we got with Tyson Fury. Because if you remember, a lot of people were saying Tyson Fury did not prepare for this fight. You know, he didn't even, according to everyone else, he didn't even want this fight because he was focused on the Joshua fight.
Got that shit from? They got some like bad sources on that one, bro.
To the actual man, and he's like, "Yo, I don't look past nobody.
Right.
Like, I know Wilder's a dangerous puncher. I know I got to go in there. I got to be cautious and do what I got to do. Like, so for me, I'm listening to the man, not the whole, not the noise.
Yeah, and why would you even do that? Like, why would you not want to like prepare and for this spotlight?
I don't know, man. I think that Josh, I think he's too confident. He's too cocky. He looked at Ruiz. He was like, oh man, this flabby mofo right here, man, he ain't got nothing on me. Like, he's nothing like that. But then, Ruiz had some speed on him, surprisingly. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then you got Usyk. Oh, this guy is cruiserweight. He's not a real heavyweight. He's got like one heavyweight fight. I'm a real champion in this division.
Right.
For 2 years now, 2-time champion. And I'm bigger than him.
For sure.
I think, so when you look at it like that, he's not bringing enough to his fight to be convincing. He just looks too relaxed in these fights. And then when someone starts taking it to him, he doesn't adjust. He's not doing like what Mayweather would do, which is like, like what Mayweather was like a computer in there. He would take data and then he would start making adjustments in the round. By the time he got to the third, fourth, fifth round, he took all the data he needed and it started like, okay, that's your strength. I'm going to use that again.
So I'm glad you brought up Mayweather. Before I make my point on that, just want to remind everybody you're watching the Greg Green live stream live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Got my man with me, Sean Law, here. Make sure you check him out over on Poster Shot on YouTube. But so after that last fight, there's reports that, and I've even seen some comments from Mayweather and Wilder. Mayweather reaches out, or not necessarily reaches out, but just puts it out there that, hey, I would love to freaking train with Wilder, getting ready for this fight. Because clearly, he could learn some things about boxing from probably the best guy to ever do it, right? From an offensive and defensive standpoint, Mayweather just has the total package, right? The IQ, I would want to talk to that guy if I were anybody.
Can you imagine Wilder with a pullback counter?
And then with that right too?
Come on, bro.
Anyway, I guess Mayweather puts it out there, but Wilder's all butthurt. Like, what? Like, why is he reaching out to me like now?
Yeah. I think he gave his. I think he said that Mayweather went against him at some point. He said, like, every fight I do, Mayweather bets against me. So why would I join him? Like, because
he's good.
You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I'm like this, man. I'm like this, yo. The past is the past.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people I do business with that I don't like.
Right. For sure.
Bank, IRS, mortgage, whatever. There's a lot of people that I do business with that I do not like.
For sure.
Elevate me to get to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what you got to say, old school? Like, what you got for me? Change my tune. But that goes back to the same thing as far as Wilder, his reaction at the end of the fight. He's too big-headed. He doesn't, like, if you against him, you against him for life kind of mentality. You know what I'm saying? So he needs to, he'll figure it out.
Turning that down might have made sense had he, won like a close fight with Fury. Yeah. But dude, you just got knocked out, right? It's like, and you're trying to redeem yourself. I'm just gonna, any resource available to me, and this dude is the best to ever do it. Is saying, hey, just let's have a conversation. Let's have a workout, and I can show you some things, or I can help you. or I would at least let him, sit in my sparring sessions as a third eye, looking in and seeing like what can we tweak, and just soaking that in. So why wouldn't you? And I think there was another commentator that said something like, him turning that down is like the equivalent to him, like let's say Mayweather walks into a grocery store or a supermarket. He sees Wilder in there buying groceries, and he sees that Wilder, has a pocket full of money, and he doesn't offer to pay for his groceries, because he sees, hey, he's got money, so I'm not gonna pay for his groceries, or I'm not gonna make that offer. But if he walks in there and he sees him like, he needs some food, but no, he doesn't have any money, then he's gonna ask, yeah, man, let me get that for you. Right. So I guess what he's trying to say is there was really no reason, because Wilder was saying, why are you reaching out to me now when you never reached out to me before in any other fight? Well, because in the other fights, you was knocking motherfuckers out. So I didn't feel like, you needed anything. So like if I see you with money in your pocket at the grocery store, I mean, you good. So I'm not gonna ask to pay.
No, I feel that.
Looking like that. So I was like, yeah, I mean, so he's just reaching out, man. So Twan says another good contender against Fury would be Ruiz Jr., because I think he took out Joshua before even used to. Yeah, he did take out Joshua, but Joshua came back and beat Ruiz after that.
I don't think that's a good fight. I mean, the biggest attribute of Ruiz is that he has surprising speed, but that's the same thing that Fury has. And when you start looking, okay, right, well, who's the bigger man? Fury. Okay, so speed, 1-1. Size, that's Fury.
That's me, no matter who he fights.
Movement.
Shaq.
Movement. That's Fury again. So I don't see Ruiz really doing that. And for me, that's something he has to earn. You coming off a L.
Yeah.
He's like the new Buster Douglas, man. You had for like 5 minutes. And that's because some men, they weren't prepared.
Yeah, he would definitely have to beat another like big name somehow, some way, to get a match with Fury, or Fury would have to lose. And again, I don't know. It would be weird. Right now, you got a lot of, you've got two contenders that are about to fight a rematch. Yeah. So that writing's on the wall. Once all that plays out, you never know. Like, let's say it plays out like, Usyk wins, he fights Fury, Fury wins, and then, Fury's unified everything, and he can probably retire if he wanted to. I don't know.
I mean, to kind of co-sign, co-sign with Twan on that comment. I would say, maybe Wilder Ruiz would be a good matchup just at this point in Wilder's career, because they're both coming off losses. So if not the Joshua, because Joshua's he's got that rematch clause with Usyk.
Yeah.
Maybe the redemption fight would be Ruiz and Wilder. Maybe that's something that we can look at. I think Ruiz won his last fight though. I think he did do another fight.
Yeah, he did. I forgot who he fought, but I remember that too. I think he did win that one. Yeah, I agree. I think that's really the only thing that people would want to go see. Wilder probably knocks him out, but who knows, right? Who knows? I think it would be cute to see, Fury and Ruiz, because those two body types, the heavyweights that aren't very sexy, to see them sort of mixing it up. But yeah, I think that's way, like, that wouldn't even be close to happening.
Man, speaking of that though, man, you see the ripples in his gut when he got hit with that punch and he went down on the third round? Like his whole belly, like his whole gut shook. Like that punch went from his head to like everywhere, man.
Right. So it's just, I don't know. It's hard to kind of like look, when you look at most boxers, they got a pretty good physique, and they, they're in really good shape, and they got like tight abs, even a lot of heavyweights. But yeah, it's, having a guy that big, it looks like he's just fat and out of shape. But when you see, I mean, dude, going, I don't know. I remember in the 4th grade, I took like a boxing class, and just, and it's weird because like back then, like I remember like watching boxing matches like in the fourth. Like I couldn't even imagine my kids right now sitting through a damn boxing match. It just wouldn't happen. Back then, it wasn't common for little kids to watch entire football games or watch a boxing match, right? But I remember taking a class and like just come to a realization like how exhausting 3 minutes is of fighting, right? Just one round, bro. Like if you've never like just fought 1 3-minute round with somebody, you have no idea. So just to go like 12, and even like back in the day, they went 15 rounds, right? They had to kind of like bring that shit back a little bit because that's a lot, right? To see a big guy like Fury go all those rounds and just like be able to manage his cardio, it's just cool to see, man. It's just like crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's why I said Baghdad's can throw down. Yeah, Baghdad's can throw down, man. And again, I really think that his size has a lot to do with it, but the combination of what he's been able to do with his skill set and his size, because most guys that are as big as him can't move like he does. Nah. I think even when he's moving like he does, it doesn't look like it just doesn't look as pretty as like a smaller person might look, but just the results that he's getting from it, it's just evident that the guy.
I thought he had some smooth moments in this fight.
Like yeah, but to me, he just looks weird just because of his body type. Yeah, he got some move. He just looks weird doing it because he's so big.
I agree with you. With you there, but he makes it look smooth though. Like yeah. I'm not just looking at like, oh, he dodged that or he came in with this kind of combination. Like something like you said, it's not supposed to happen.
Right. It's not.
But like, I mean, Shaq, his big ass, so no one's supposed to move like that on the court.
Right. He's just too big, man. It's like it's crazy.
Some of the guys is gifted like that. They got the weight, the size, but they can, it's like those fat dudes that be like dancing, like doing all kind of moves on those TikTok and whatever videos. So like
what do you think then?
Dance is funny.
What do you think it would take to beat someone like Wilder?
Like Wilder?
I'm sorry. I mean, like Fury.
Okay, I was about to say because we just saw what it would take.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I meant Fury. Yeah, Fury.
Honestly, man,
gonna take?
What you got to be a boxer, and that's why I give anyone out of the whole heavyweight division right now with the spotlight on him. I give him the best shot, man. And we saw that with the Joshua fight. It's going to take a lot of movement. It's going to take someone who knows how to manage their stamina, in a fight, who can go 12 rounds and not get gassed out. It's going to take something like that. The only downside with Usyk is that he doesn't have the size that Fury had.
Right.
So you got to find someone like that. But out of everyone, I think Usyk has the most skills. I think he has the highest skill set to actually give Fury a run for his money out of everyone I've seen.
Right.
There was a point I wanted to make that you were making as far as like, going off of the look. And I think that's what Joshua does. You know what I'm saying? Like when you think heavyweight, you think like muscle, you see this fat dude, it's like, oh, well, he's fat. I got the muscle. No way you can beat me kind of thing.
Juan says endurance. He said, very true. I was shocked to see Andy last 7 rounds with Joshua.
Yeah, you got to remember though, man, muscle is heavier than fat.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think it's going to take, dude. I think to beat Fury, it's going to take somebody the size of Wilder, right? Because he's a big man too. He's just not as big as Fury, but with some sort of boxing level, somewhere close to Fury. I don't think he has to be better, but he definitely has to be close to the same size or a size of Wilder. 6'7", 220, 230.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to box, right? I don't think anybody can knock a person that big out, dude. Unless, Wilder came pretty close, but he didn't. He got up, dude. He's a freaking monster. He just gets up, and then it's like, how discouraging is that, right? So you're already a big guy, right? You're 6'7", you're 230. That's a big man, right? So now you step into a ring with someone who's bigger than you, right? Not only taller, but just taller and bigger and wider, right? Can move, right? So he's big, but he's not necessarily slow.
Yeah.
And then you like, all right, I'm a bad mofo. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna knock this big tree. I'm gonna chop this tree down, right? And you chop the tree down, but it gets back up. How discouraging is that? It's like
it definitely takes away from your confidence.
Yeah,
like
and you've exerted like all of your energy to like get to that, like, oh fuck, I got him down. That's it, that's it. And 9 and what? He's getting up. No. I would be like, man, fuck this.
It's like those video games, man, where you're like, you got to the main guy, and you got to hit this motherfucker forever for him to die. Like, damn, you hit this motherfucker forever. It's like, damn, he don't die.
Yeah, like those games that you get to the end, you get to the last guy that you got to kill, and it's so hard. It is like,
big
like
and
weeks fighting the same guy. But yeah, it's discouraging, man. And then, for Wilder in that fight, I think it just got to a point where he just went into survival mode. He's like, well, I've given it all I've got. Yeah. I can't knock this guy out. I'm hitting him with some punches, but it's just like mosquito bites at this point. So now, I just gotta not get embarrassed. Like my girl is watching. We talked about that before. I think my girl is watching. My family, my friends are all watching. I'm gonna hang in there. And I give it to him. He didn't quit. I think it would have been real easy to quit. I think it would have been, after the second fight and then the fight the way this was going, if he would have quit, I would have been okay with that, bro.
He wouldn't have quit, man. I agree with what you said earlier. Yeah, I agree with what you said earlier. I think he had a conversation with his people prior to like, yo, no towel. If I do go out, I'm going out on my shield.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly what he did.
Because, like you said, man, that fight could have stopped round 8, round 9. He was out on his feet. He had no leg. He was off balance. Every punch he was throwing was knocking him off balance. I thought he was going in the 10th round.
Yeah, man, I was like,
because that knockout was.
And you could just, like you said, you could just tell by the way he was like moving and he was backing up, leaning against the ropes. And again, I think part of Fury was being patient, but I thought there was an element of fatigue for him too. But again, he manages it. He managed it perfectly. He didn't go crazy. He's waited for the right moment. And when that right moment came, I mean, when he went down that last time, dude, he flew off like. He went down. It was like that was it.
Fury.
What's that?
Where'd you see the fatigue and Fury in the fight? Like what rounds, if you remember, or what moment?
Well, when I say fatigue, I mean like again, he's leaning on him. That's the part of the strategy. But like you said, he was being careful. But I think at the same time, it's like, yeah, I'm just. Well, he got knocked down a couple times too, right? And so. Him getting up from that, he was done, dude. He was fatigued, but he was able to recharge and get his energy back. So I felt like there were moments in the fight where he was sort of fatigued, but like I said, he managed it. And he was reserving himself because he still was landing big shots. And like you said before, he was very careful about not getting a counter shot from Wilder because he can still catch you. He's already put him down twice. He can still catch you, and that's all it takes. But again, yeah, it was a good fight. When the moment came, though, he got him good, and then that was a wrap.
Yeah,
he mentioned himself. It was a tough fight. So the only thing I can see is that he was a little gassed, man. He was a little gassed. It was hard to to get there.
Wilder's not a pushover, so I think he gave. Right. I think that. I don't think he said that just to say it, just to show face, right. I think, or look like, oh yeah, or like to try not to be an asshole about it. I think he really meant that. Wilder, that punch, man. Everyone in the heavyweight division is scared to fight. Everybody is worried about that one shot because all it takes is that one shot. If he hits you on the button, it's over. That's a very dangerous thing. But for you to go 3 fights with this man and best him, Like, and, I mean, and he felt his power, man. He knows what the power is. I ain't trying to feel that shit.
Right.
So
Right. Again,
yeah, man,
shout
I
out to
give
everybody
Wilder a
checking
lot
us
of
out
credit.
right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Greg Green live stream talking about Fury, Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder 3. Wrap it up. Twan is on the line. Appreciate you, Twan. Haven't seen you in a while. Twan says, imagine taking hours to beat the last boss just for the boss to go. This isn't even my final form. He goes, fuck, man, toss that controller. Yeah, so like so what we were talking about earlier, we were talking about how discouraging it is for Wilder to knock Fury down, and for him this massive dude just to get back up and keep throwing punches at you when you've given it everything that you've got to get him out of there, and it just didn't work out. So hopefully at this point, Wilder, it's been a few days now. He has a chance to marinate on it a little bit. Hopefully, and I'm sure he has come to the realization that that guy's just better than me. If we fought 10 more times, I'd probably lose every time. Could I get lucky and get a shot in? Yeah, but he's just a better fighter. And it's time to move on, man. It's time to do something different. Find another rivalry to go with. He's made a lot of money off those fights. So
because Fury is standing in his way, we know he can't beat Fury. So that's already set in stone, right? Can't beat Fury. Could you see, because he bulked up for this fight and his normal weight is around a 210, could you see him maybe dropping weight to see if he can compete in the cruiser weight division, just for the sake of becoming a title holder again? You think that's something he can strive in? He would just be a top fighter in this division as long as Fury is still good. You know what I'm saying?
I think he could do that, but I don't think anybody wants to be the cruiserweight champion of the world. It's just not a popular division. Heavyweight champion of the world is such cooler. Obviously, middleweight, some of the lower divisions have kind of grown over the past few years and have become very popular. But I think there's one weight class that has never been popular are cruiserweights. I think in some way all cruiserweights are trying to work their way to heavyweight. At some point.
They got light heavyweight, right?
Say again.
Isn't it cruiser, light heavyweight, heavyweight?
Do they have, again? If it is light heavyweight, then it's another division that no one cares about.
Because
super heavyweights too.
Was in light heavyweight though. Don't forget about that.
Didn't they used to have super heavyweights?
Yeah, you're talking about like Butterbean and shit like that.
Yeah. And so, well, I think, we're talking about Roy, but again, Roy is a dynamic fighter that people just want to go see. He's very entertaining. So if any division has a guy like that in it, so you're saying like Wilder may be that guy?
Yeah, Wilder has the same kind of fan base as of course, Roy Jones is bigger than Wilder, but he has a name big enough to where I think his fan base will follow him. And for him to be like the knockout artist of a light heavyweight division, I mean, people are gonna think he has the clout to kind of do what Roy Jones did.
I think that would be true if he'd have done that before the whole Fury thing. With Fury never being in the picture, him never having fought him, that's good. But now in the back of everybody's mind is like, yeah, he's dominating now, but Fury knocked his ass out a lot. But I hear you. I mean, that would be. I think the larger point is what will be the best thing for him going forward, and that's right. probably it. I don't know if that's something he would be interested in doing because the whole weight cutting thing is hard for a lot of people. I'm not even sure what was Twan saying is heavyweights equals sumo or super heavyweights equals sumo wrestling at this point. Yeah. Well, right now, really, I think Fury would be classified as a super heavyweight because he's just so. I mean, he's 277, bro. That's still big, and he probably walks around at 300 easy. Just walking around. 3 months after this fight, if he's not getting ready for a fight, he's probably walking just because he's just his bones, dude. Just the what he carries as a person, he's probably 300. So he gets down and he starts training for a fight. Obviously, he gets down to 270s, 260. So that's a big dude, man. And to move around and to work like that for 12 rounds, it's hard to do. You got to be in good shape.
Yeah. Just to correct myself, cruiserweight is a higher ranking than light heavyweight.
The light heavyweight, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so he would have to because his natural look. This is Wilder, right? His natural weight is, as far as how he comes into the ring, is around 210, right?
Right.
Drop 10 pounds. Now he's a cruiserweight. He would have to go down to 175 to be a light heavyweight, and that's
Right.
that's too much weight.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I can see him maybe being the man in cruiserweight if he decided to go that route, because he would have no competition. He would be the Tyson Fury of the cruiserweights in that
right.
division.
And that's the thing. Like, what's a good fight for him down there, right? Yeah, it's great to see people get, to see him knocking people out, but at some point you want to see him fighting good fighters. I don't know. I don't follow.
No, you make a good point. Like you want a name to go against.
Exactly. So if he just wants to just to keep fighting for money, yeah, okay, you could do that. But big money fights, it's gonna be tough. So just before we go, what are some of the fights you'd like to see in the future? Not necessarily heavyweights, but what are some of the fights that you want to see? The whole Pacquiao Earl Spence thing is dead because Pacquiao got beat last time. What fight do you want to see right now?
Crawford next month. Him and Sean Porter.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Crawford's going to fight Porter.
Yeah, he's going to fight Porter next month.
I think that's going to be a good fight.
It's going to be a damn good fight. We need to talk about that.
That's going to be. I didn't even know that was about to go. You said next month?
Next month. It's end of November. Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's November 20th, if I'm not mistaken. 20th or 30th, one of those days.
Dude, I had no idea. So that's good. Good for boxing, man, because they need it. I think the reason that UFC is kicking boxing's ass right now, and I like them both, by the way. I like UFC and I like boxing. But I think UFC is probably kicking boxing's ass right now is because they just put on more shows. You know,
exactly.
They put on more events. And these boxing guys got to get that figured out. They got to find ways to get more people out there. They gotta find a way to get the up and coming fighters on the scene so people can see who they are and what they're all about, and promote these younger fighters that people don't know nothing about, like the UFC does. I mean, the UFC, they do all these cards and all these people that are fighting. There's so many different people fighting. It's even hard. It's hard to keep up with them, right? But what happens is, like clockwork, there's some up and comer that starts just to kick ass week after week or show after show or event after event, and that's how they people they know him because they've seen him, right? And so I think boxing needs to find a way to do that. I don't know if they got to work with the networks or whatever, but just to put more product out there and to put more, put together more fights people want to see. Right? Put together fights people want to see. Stop playing out like people want to see freaking Spence and Crawford, dude. They've been wanting to see that fight forever, but it's just they're not making it happen. Now, I think this Porter fight is a good thing.
I mean, that's a 2022 fight. Like right now, just with I forgot what happened with Spence as far as why he dropped out of his fight. I think it was like an injury or something like that, an eye injury. I can't remember why Spence dropped out of
the fight. Yeah, I think something happened. Yeah, something happened.
Yeah,
but Pacquiao should just probably so hated, man. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but you got so many good fighters, man. You got Gervonta Davis. You got Teofimo Lopez. You got oh my God, Terrence Crawford, Sean Porter, the guys we're talking about right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mello.
They got to put on more shows, man. That's the thing. They got to put on more shows. You got all these different and Tuan put in there more shows, more marketing, better scheduling. Yeah. All right. He says got to go, man. Thanks for stopping by, Tuan. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah. The thing with boxing is that you got so many different divisions where UFC has the clout because it's its own entity. It's one machine. Mm-hmm. Boxing, you got to do business with, the WBC, IBO, all these different divisions that just can't, and then promotions can't get together. Right. You got all these rules and regulations that block these fighters, and in contracts they sign. I think Teofimo Lopez did a contract with Triller, and I saw an interview where he was kind of regretting that a little bit because it might be holding him back from some competition he could be getting. Right.
Right.
So, and you got I I don't want to say Crawford's with Top Rank, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's with Top. I could be lying, but he had a deal where I don't know if it's PBC or ESPN, but he had a deal to where he just simply, the people who were promoting Spence, they just weren't looking at that entity,
right?
Because they didn't see any top quality fighters on there, because only one top quality fighter was Terrence Crawford. Everything else was a line of bums or no name who didn't have anything, right? So, it's really just it's a political game when it comes down to boxing, more so than UFC. UFC, you're dealing with Dana White. And if you
Exactly.
go to Dana White and it's like, yo, I want to fight this dude, Dana White's going to make it happen. Full stop. He has all the control. So it needs to be in the house, or these houses need to come together and be a little bit more.
So you see this comment right here on the screen?
I mean,
Andy Ruiz, really?
Yeah, Andy Ruiz.
Well, anyway, he says, Wilder made the community look bad. This man had no conditioning. Surprised he's still not asleep from that knockout.
The challenge.
What's your response to that comment? Because I don't know if he wasn't conditioned. I don't think he could have got as far as he did without being in some sort of. Now he was dragging ass for those last 3 or 4 rounds, but he was still there.
I called it. It's like what I said last Friday, man. We've seen Wilder go in heavy before, and he did not perform as well. Still got the win, but he, at the end of the speech, he's like, "Yeah, I didn't perform as well as I normally do," but blah blah blah. And when he gains weight, he doesn't know how to control that. He doesn't know how to move. Like I said, if he wasn't able to knock Fury out in those first 3-4 rounds, he was going to gas himself out.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Fury was going to take over the fight. And that's exactly what happened. So looking at this comment, I can't argue against it. It's exactly what I said on Friday. He doesn't have the conditioning to fight at that particular weight. Only reason he gained the weight was because he wanted to put some power behind his punch and potentially knock Fury out. But just knowing that he's fought at that weight before and he looked gassed fighting at that weight, it was a precursor to what was going to happen on Saturday night. So it's kind of hard to see that.
I see it a little bit differently. And Andy says there was a rooting for him. People were rooting for him, backing him up, lies and excuses after the loss in the second fight. A lot of them had money on him in the fight. Extra weight class was a bad idea. So I think that because again he lasted. He went a while. I mean, he got knocked down a couple times and he kept getting back up. So that's something to say about his conditioning, it was okay, right? I think where he kind of screwed up was, again, like I said, not having that plan B. If he was going to come out fast, because he knew that he would gas out. He had to know that. His camp had to know that. If he's going to come out at the pace that he's going to come out, then we got to get it done, right? So maybe it was a bad strategy to start with, right? Maybe just come out not so aggressive, but maybe he thought that was his only chance, not so aggressive, and save some of yourself for the later rounds, because that's where, you may be able to gas, have the other guy gas out. I don't know. But clearly the strategy that was in place didn't work, because he went, like I said, once he got hit, he went back to the old Wilder, right? So but he hung in there as long as he could.
Man, he should not have put the weight on. The weight. Again, he's thinking the weight is going to give him more power with that punch, not understanding that he performs better with that punch at the weight he normally comes in, which is around 210, 215-ish. So stay at 210, 215, where you're most dominant, where that power comes through more prominently, and then have your trainer, have your new team work with you with that weight. The goal shouldn't have been put on an extra 20 pounds and then try to maximize that with, try to and feel like that's going to maximize your power when we've seen it already, and we can only go off what we've seen. It's like the stock market, like every September and October, the stock market goes down. We got to look at history. We got to look at history and then try to like make a game plan off of that history. So the history is he performs poorly at a heavier weight. His power is at his normal weight. He comes in 210, 215-ish. Let's go to the body at that normal weight where you still have power behind that punch, where you can hit him to the body multiple times, where you won't get gassed out so quickly. You know what I'm saying? If the game plan is go to the body with that maximum power at 215, where you're normally comfortable at, and then maybe Fury does drop those hands, and then maybe you can slip in that powerful right. So I mean, like I said, that's just my way of thinking at it, just going off of the timeline of Wilder, and when he's at that weight, it just doesn't. It wasn't a good look for him to put that extra weight on.
Well, I definitely think that's a fair point, fair perspective. Also want to say appreciate you, Andy, for putting in the comments here. He put another comment, says the crazy thing is he didn't have to take another fight with Fury after the first fight, which was the best performance out of the 3 fights. He could have fought AJ or Usyk. That ego led to his downfall. I think that's a fair point too. But I mean, when a guy knocks you out and you're in denial, he's gonna fight him again, right? And maybe he was thinking those AJ and Usyk could be down the line as next for him and just kind of get Fury out of the picture, but he couldn't do that. But we're here talking about it on the Greg Green live stream. I appreciate Andy Ruiz coming in on the chat. Andy, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Also, go ahead and subscribe to Sean over on Poster Shots if you like, commentary on TV shows and movies and things like that. He's got you covered over on Poster Shot. We're streaming live right now on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube on the Greg Green live stream and on the wrap up. So subscribe to everything. Poster Shot, the Greg Green live stream. We appreciate you. We always do. We love the comments that come in. We love it when, we got a big heavyweight championship fight that just went down. We've had a few days to kind of think about it, listen to some of the commentary around it. And again, for me, it was just a real exciting, event to watch and experience. For me, it's always like, if I can sit like in a small space like I'm in right now and enjoy myself with no one else around just because that fight was so good, it's great. It would have been cool to have people around me, but just, this is what it was this time. And I enjoyed myself. Some people were saying that it was sort of like, I think I heard some folks say it wasn't boring, but they both looked sloppy in the fight. I could maybe, but it was entertaining. It was entertaining. Yeah. I didn't see like too much slopping. I just saw people getting punched and people getting knocked down and people getting up and the crowd going crazy. And that is what the experience is about for me. What's that?
Was that Andre Ward that said that?
Well, I think, was it him that said that? It was I can't remember who said it, but somebody said
I know it was one of the commentators that I can't remember who it was. I don't want to say it on Andre Ward right. Without knowing, but I remember somebody at the end of the fight, they did say it was sloppy and they would like rank it. They said it was a good fight, but it wasn't like it was up there with the top ones because, the punches going, how Fury normally swings while they're off balance. But I would argue against that, man. I think this was very entertaining. I think everyone got their money's worth.
Yeah.
I think we got a good number of knockdowns. Both fighters, came to. So, man, we had a blast on this fight.
Yeah. Like, I was on the edge of my seat, man, the whole time. I was on the edge of my seat, just like, what's gonna happen? Even when it got to the point where you knew what was gonna happen, it was like, but let's just wait and see. Let's just wait and see. Yeah, how is this gonna go down? I thought it would have been great. I mean, the knockout is really good. Knockouts are always a good thing to see. It's always makes for a good story, especially kind of the way it happened, the drama. But there was also an opportunity for Wilder to have his Rocky 1 moment, right? The original Rocky, where Rocky really gets his ass kicked, but people loved him just for hanging in there with Apollo Creed, right? It was almost as if he won the fight, right? Because he was supposed to lose. and he just, he took a beating, but he threw his, he got some good shots in, knocked him down a couple of times, and he made it to the end, and he held on. So you got people cheering for him at the end. He didn't quite make it there. I think he could have still done that, or gotten that vibe from folks. Let's not do the whole bad sportsman thing, and I don't want to talk to you, Fury. I don't respect you anymore. Let's not do that. If you do that, if you come correct, man, and just be like, man, that was a great fight. I gave it my all, but you just a better man. Shout out to you, bro, and thank you for the opportunity. People, that's how you get that next fight. I
would have liked to see him smile at the end.
Yeah,
like, we gave him a show, didn't we?
Yeah, I'd have been like, dude, you're a big dude, man. I had you down, but you got me. Yeah, just like have some fun with it. Be like, dude, you a big motherfucker. I thought I had you out of there, but you got me. You the better man. So, man, I appreciate it, because at the end of the day, they made each other a lot of money.
I don't want that for him. You know what I'm saying? It makes him look weak. And it gives people a reason to drag you on social media.
Yeah,
although
it makes people want to see you get knocked out again.
I don't contribute to none of that. But you're making yourself a meme. You're making it's bad publicity that shouldn't be there, man. This is
for sure.
You went out on your shield.
Well, all right, man. I got a call tonight. I appreciate you coming on again. Everybody that chimed in, I appreciate you there. Don't forget to follow Sean over on Poster Shot on YouTube. Just learned that Sean just schooled me on the Porter Crawford fight going to be happening real soon. So we got to come back and talk about that whenever that goes down. I'm about to pull up some information on that right now just to kind of get spun up. I want to make sure I don't miss that fight. But yeah, man, let's definitely do it again sometime. You're always welcome. I'll be back on Friday night just doing my regular thing. I haven't done my regular thing in a while. I still do Tuesday nights NFL wrap up with my cousin Rashad. We just recap week 5 or week over week for the NFL. We're big football fans, and so we love just talking about that stuff. So anybody's always welcome to chime in and jump in anytime you want to. So we do boxing, we do football, and we just talk about other BS happening in the world. So on the Gregory Live stream. So I appreciate everyone chiming in. Sean, thank you again, man, for stopping by, talking about the fight. I don't get an opportunity to talk to many people about boxing, and I got a buddy that's in the UFC. We talk UFC sometimes, but it's always fun to have you on, man, and just getting your perspective on boxing, because I know you're a true fan. I know you love the craft and the art. I know you appreciate it, have a strong appreciation for it. And it's hard to find these days for boxing anyway. People that got a real strong appreciation for it. UFC is a big thing right now. Like I said, I like both of them, but there's just a part of me that for boxing, dude, is always, when there's good fights and there's people out there still doing it, I'm going to be watching. And we have a lot of good fight opportunities out there in boxing. So let's get those promoters to just put it out there, and, let's make this a fair competition with the UFC. That's going to make both organizations better, I think. When you have like some really good competition. So boxing, get your shit together and put it out there. That was a great fight. Fury Wilder, keep putting shows like that. Canelo is just, find somebody, just put anybody in the ring with that guy, dude. It's going to be an amazing event. So again, man, thank y'all for chiming in. I appreciate you, Sean, coming back again. So let's do it again soon, bro.
No doubt.
All right, we out. That was stupid, but that's all I had to say.